So, do you remember back in 2012 when there was all the doomsday prediction about 12, 12, 12? I don't know what made me think about that when I was writing this talk, but remember the Mayan calendar, okay, was basically running out and designating no time after December 21st, 2012, and apparently the Mayan calendar reportedly had last renewed itself approximately 5,125 years before that and was not set to end again, supposedly with catastrophic consequences in 2012. So the rapture was supposed to happen. And so people were scrambling and they were getting prepared, and reports of people becoming ready by cashing in their retirement funds and selling all their personal goods. And one man spent $140,000 of his savings on advertisements to publicize what was going to happen. An unemployed woman paid about $1,200 to buy advertising space on a bus to tell people. A man quit his job and he formed a survival group and began collecting various gear that was supposed to help him survive the apocalypse. And there was a website called Rapture Ready. Now, that website's still up. For example, that has a whole arsenal of apocalypse-related data, including Rapture Ready News. And December, there was all this readiness, all this readiness for this doomsday event that was going to happen. Were you ready? Well, it started me thinking about, and right now we kind of have some doomsday things happening right now. What's going to happen? Is the other shoe going to drop? And so I was thinking about that. And I also remember, when we went to the millennium, Y2K, all these things, how we have prepared and gotten ready for some doomsday event out of this fear of what was going to happen. And I thought, wow, what would it be like in our lives to start readying ourselves for the good stuff? And so I went to, my handy dandy Siri and looked up the definition of what is readiness. Of course, it was just right there. And I loved it. I want you to know, I'm basing my message today on Siri's information, which said, okay, so Siri gave 3 points about what it means to be ready. Being prepared, quality of being immediate and prompt, and willingness to do something. That's pretty wise. Yeah, so I thought that is a perfect outline for what I want to share with you today. So, what is good? What is our good? Jesus talked about the kingdom of God is at hand. And so if you've been in a metaphysics class, you know that there's a difference between the kingdom of God and the kingdom of heaven, right? Okay, I'll review. So the kingdom of God is at hand. What that means is that, remember, there's this absolute reality of infinite possibilities that always is, that never changes. So that kingdom of God, as Jesus said, is always at hand. It's always available. And what that means is that there's an infinite wellspring of abundance, of life, of wholeness, of well-being, of strength, of wisdom, of peace. All these beautiful divine ideas. It's always at hand. And the kingdom of heaven is the choice that we make moment to moment to moment to live in that knowing and claiming and expressing of the good that's at hand. And that we can create the kingdom of heaven choice by choice by choice. Okay? All right. So, going back to Siri's wisdom, availability, being prepared. How do we really be prepared? It's through being available and receptive through our consciousness. The greatest way for us to receive, and see, really, when I say receive, I just want to clarify. You've already received the good, folks, because it's already at hand. What you're doing is you're receiving it into your life experience through the level of your receptivity through your consciousness. Through your consciousness. Are you in a space of possibility or limitation? And I found this sweet little story of this little guy. There was a little boy. He wanted to play baseball, but he was told he wasn't old enough yet. He was only 8 years old. And so his mom told him also that when he did get to start playing, that he wouldn't be able to run very fast because he had had an operation. So he told his mom that he wouldn't need to run fast because when he played baseball, he'd just hit them out of the park and he'd be able to walk. Yeah, from the mouths of children. Yeah. See, he was available. He was available to receive the good because he saw possibility versus limitation. Yeah, see, folks, what if our consciousness was in that space? We were available to see possibility versus limitation, abundance versus scarcity. What would that be like? Availability instead of being closed off. Because, we can get closed off in life because we get hurt, we get disappointed. And then we wonder sometimes, why is life just feeling so hard? Yeah, so what we're called to be ready, our readiness is about being available and raising our consciousness. And Jesus told his disciples to keep watch and pray. Keep watch and pray. What that means is keep watch over your consciousness and pray knowing. Praying is, I hold knowing. I am available. I am ready to receive the good that's already mine. All right, so Siri also talked about the quality of being immediate and prompt. And see, to me, that's all about living in the present moment. Right here, right here, right here. Prompt. I'm immediate. My attention's right here, right now. Because I tell you what, in my life, when I have allowed myself to be in the moment, instead of in the past about being a victim about something, I experience blessings. And I know I've shared this story with you, but this is another context. I'm going to share it again. Remember when I applied to ministerial school in 1999, and I was all like, I am ready to be a minister. And I went, and the guidance I got was apply to ministerial school. And I applied, and I went out to Unity Village, and I had my interviews, and they said, no, thank you. Rug pull. The rug was pulled out from underneath me. I was just devastated. And they were right. They were absolutely right. But I tell you what, I was in my pity party. And my mentor sat me down. I think I told you this, over 5 scoops of ice cream at Ben & Jerry's. I was drowning my sorrows in 5 scoops of ice cream at Ben & Jerry's. And she said, honey, what if you could just shift your view about this and start to look for the blessings? It was the greatest piece of advice and support that I've ever received. And that redirection, that's what they call it, a redirection. It was the greatest blessing of my life. I am still gleaning blessings from that. And I could go on and on and on and on about that. And I also just wanted to share something with you too. So that was, I gleaned blessings, and I was able to be in a community, and I became a licensed teacher, and I just felt really prepared, and I was able to I was in the first master's class at Unity Institute and all that. But, right now, I have an example. Some of you know that the reason I wasn't here last week was because I was in Charlotte. I get a little choked up because my mama is not doing well. She's 87, and she had emergency surgery. I had to go home a week early because I'm her healthcare power of attorney, and she had to have emergency surgery. So we were in the ICU at a hospital in Charlotte, and we had made the plan to have the surgery, and it was in between time for the preparation. And I realized that I hadn't had anything to eat in about 24 hours. So it was a good time for me just to step away for a little bit and go get some food. So I'm in the elevator, and if you remember, I want to go back to a talk I gave 2 weeks ago. Remember about joy, where I invited you to be a person of increase? You know, and really quickly, when you're a person of increase, you know, you stand in front of someone, and your commitment is that they walk away from you standing taller. They walk away from you more in their joy and in their knowing of the truth of what they are. And so I got on the elevator, and there were two people that I know were part of a family came on, and another woman came on. And I just thought, person of increase. Because my heart was breaking, and I thought, what's the best way? Be a person of increase. So I turned to these people, and I said, so you have a dear one in ICU? And they said, yes, and he just died 5 minutes ago. And so I put my hand on the woman's shoulder, and I said, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I'm holding you in prayer. And she just looked at me like, thank you. Well, then they start ministering to me. So we get off the elevator, and we're walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden they're just like, well, you know what? We know God didn't make any mistakes. We know everything's going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Everything is just the way it's supposed to be. And I am just, and they were ministering to me because those were the exact words that I needed to hear. You know, and at the end, we were in the main lobby, and this woman and I, we just started hugging each other. And she said, you know, sometimes God puts in our path people that bless us. And I thought, in that moment, we avail ourselves in each moment to be blessed. And what they modeled for me, that in the midst of that emotional grief, that they were looking for the blessing. You see? They looked for the blessing, and they got it, and in the meantime, they ministered to somebody else. That, to me, is a readiness right here, right now. So beautiful. And so lastly, Siri says, we get to be willing to do something, to avail ourselves to be ready to receive the good that's already there. You know, yes, we want to sit in the silence, and we do want to spend our time in prayer and reflecting and grounding ourselves in the truth of what we are. But folks, we got to get out and put feet on it. We've got to be willing to engage in life in a new way if we're going to be ready for the good. Because if we're going to sit home and do the same things we've always done, we can't expect things to be different. Right? So, you know, when you've taken a risk, you've stepped out of your comfort zone, you've engaged more fully in life, and you're like, wow, that was really fun. Yeah. So, we're going to move away from this doomsday stuff, okay? And we're going to open our hearts, right? We're going to avail our hearts to be ready for the good that's already there for us through being available and receptive and opening our consciousness, deepening our consciousness to receive that which we already have. We're going to live in the moment and look for the blessings. And we're going to engage in life. We're going to put feet on our prayers and take a risk. Step out and do something new. But I tell you, folks, if you leave here today and you make an intention in your heart to look for the blessings in life, to really be ready, you will not be disappointed. Because there is so much sweetness in life. Regardless of what's happening, if your mom's not well, or maybe the job's hard, or whatever's going on, I just want to invite you to leave here today with your eyes wider open. Does that make sense? Wider opener, whatever. Open your eyes. Just wider. Open your heart. Open your life. Because you will not be disappointed. So let's affirm together. I am ready for a deeper experience of good to express as my life. And so it is.